Hey everyone, have you ever, thought about retiring early? Like way before the typical retirement age even.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have, right?
Yeah, and it might actually be more attainable than you think. So that's what we're going to dive into today.
Okay, cool.
So we're looking at Retire Before Mom and Dad by Rob Berger.
Love that title, by the way.
Right, it grabs you
Yeah,
and it's packed with strategies to reach financial freedom even if you don't have like a huge income right now.
right. It's a pretty common misconception that you have to be making a ton of money to retire early.
Right.
This book totally challenges that idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, one of the core concepts the book emphasizes is the power of like saving and investing smartly,
Yeah.
no matter how much you're currently earning.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me when I was reading it. It's not about like winning the lottery or anything like that. It's
Uh,
about making consistent, smart financial choices over time.
Okay, so let's dig into some of the specifics here because the book introduces this idea of the wealth ratio,
Okay.
which I found super interesting.
I love the wealth ratio. It's such a simple but powerful concept.
Yeah, so it's basically you take your total savings and divide that by your annual expenses.
Right.
And so the book gives this example. Let's say you're saving, about half of your income.
Mm-hmm.
Berger suggests you could be on track to retire in about 17 years.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's way earlier than, the traditional like 40 plus years people often expect to work.
Definitely. And what I love about the wealth ratio is that it highlights these like two key levers you can pull to like speed up your journey to early retirement.
Okay.
So you can either focus on like increasing your savings rate, which we've talked about, or you can focus on decreasing your annual expenses.
Okay.
And ideally, you're doing a little bit of both, right?
Right. And I think, this is something that a lot of people probably feel stuck on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I don't earn enough to even think about retiring early.
Right. I hear that a lot.
But Berger really argues that the key is living below your means.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be rich to retire early. You just have to be smart about your money.
It's about making conscious choices, you know?
Right.
So, for instance, one of the biggest things people should avoid is lifestyle inflation.
Okay, and what exactly does that mean?
So, basically, as your income goes up, it's tempting to, spend more.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like you get a raise or a promotion, and suddenly you think, oh, I can afford a nicer car or a bigger house.
Right, like I deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's insidious because it creeps up on you slowly. Before you know it, your expenses have ballooned.
Right.
And you're no closer to your financial goals, even though you're making more money.
It's like you're working harder, but you're not actually getting ahead, right?
Exactly. It's like running on a treadmill. You're
Yeah.
putting in the effort, but you're not really moving forward.
So how do we break free from that cycle? Like, how do we kind of retrain our brains to avoid that?
Yeah, great question. I think awareness is a huge first step, just being mindful of your spending habits.
Right, so like tracking where your money is going.
Exactly. Track your spending, create a budget, and really be intentional about your choices. It's about like aligning your spending with your long-term goals
Okay.
rather than just, indulging in every little thing that tempts you in the moment.
Right. And I think this ties in really well with another big concept that Berger highlights, which is the time value of money.
Yeah.
So like the sooner you start saving and investing, the more time your money has to
Oh,
grow.
yeah, it's so important.
And that's where the magic of compound interest really kicks in.
Absolutely. Compound interest is incredible, right? It's like imagine you invest a small amount of money today.
Okay.
Over time, not only are you earning interest on that original investment, but you're also earning interest on the accumulated interest. It creates the snowball effect that can lead to exponential growth in the long run.
Oh, wow. Okay, so even if you can only save small amounts right now, starting early and being consistent will have a huge impact down the road.
Exactly. And that's something Berger really emphasizes. It's not about drastic overnight changes.
Okay.
It's about making sustainable adjustments to your spending and investing habits and sticking with them over time.
So I love that. So those small steps taken consistently add up to big results.
Exactly.
So for our listener who's, ready to take action, what would you recommend as a good first step based on Berger's advice?
Honestly, I think the best place to start is by like taking a close look at your spending habits.
Okay.
Identify one area where you could potentially cut back without feeling like sleep-deprived?
Yeah.
For example, could you maybe bring lunch to work a couple of times a week instead of eating out every day?
Right.
Could you maybe switch to a less expensive streaming service?
Okay, so just little tweaks here and there.
Yeah, little things can free up cash that you can then redirect towards savings and investments.
Okay, awesome. So to kind of sum this all up,
Right.
we've got the wealth ratio as like a guiding principle for early retirement,
Right.
and then the importance of living below our means to combat that lifestyle inflation.
Yeah,
And then the power of like consistent saving and investing, no matter how small you start. And it's not about, deprivation.
absolutely.
It's about making conscious choices that really align with like your long-term financial goals.
That's a great way to put it.
So, yeah, think about it. What small change could you make today to kind of inch closer to that financial freedom dream?
Yeah, love that.
Maybe even retire before your parents.
Right.
And for more details and strategies, definitely check out Retire Before Mom and Dad by Rob Berger. It's packed with
Yeah.
great advice and it's a really inspiring read.
It's a good one.